was that down there. That filled up that up there pretty good. I made it pretty thick in this bad spot.
Cool. Well, you want to talk to YouTube? Or TikTok or wherever this ends up? They're talking. Okay guys, I'm going to show you how I put together a frost-proof spigot. Oh, hang on. Here's your spigot. Whenever you open it up, it comes, this piece right here is not in there, so it has a little silver brass piece that you screw in. It's a square fitting and then just a little Phillips head that goes in there. Just screw it in. All that's to do is it adjusts your tension on there. And then this is a threaded 90, which goes in here. Then I got a like a 12-inch nipple, and then this is a slip coupler. I guess that's what I call it. Anyways, the pipe goes over top of that and then it screws down tight. And the reason for using that is because whenever someone torques on the handle, it'll allow it to flex and not bust, which is a pretty important feature. I gotta grab my wrench, hang on. Okie dokie. I got a variety of wrenches here. I like to have more than I need just in case. I'm gonna wipe this fitting out right here. You guys can see that there just a little bit. I can scoot it this way just a hair, but trying not to get the handle portion off of my toolbox because it'll be an issue if I do that. So another thing that's really important is whenever this goes in here, where I'm gonna stop it. So right now my handle is facing this way and I need this portion to stop like so, something like that. So whenever it gets down in there, you got to get it tight, but you have to also make sure it's going to stop at the correct angle because it is threaded, and that is going to matter. I've got a little bit of thread sealer here. It is thick stuff, even whenever it's not cold. It's really thick. So I dab a little bit here on my threads. I like to get it all the way around. This stuff will goop up and you do not want to get it on your fingers if you can help it. Sometimes I put gloves on. I carry plastic gloves that are for mechanicking and stuff. It's really handy whenever you're dealing with something you don't want to get on your hands. You know, we deal with a lot of grease and other things. I'm actually going to shut this tool bin here for now because I don't want to get any of this on it. So I can go by hand for a pretty good ways. And then after that, now at this point, I'm going to have to grab a wrench. I'm gonna take it. This is all 3/4 inch stuff here too. All of these things are 3/4 inch. So I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna turn it down. I've got it bound up there on the other end so that I can get it about right on there. So that is gonna be about where we want it. That's just a little bit further than I want it, but with where our pipe is coming through, I think that'll be pretty decent there. I might try to, I typically don't want to turn it backwards, but I may turn it back just a little bit because I'll never make another round with it without it bottoming out. So there there's that. I'm going to take this, flip it over so that it's in a good spot for me to work on it. And this, I'll take the, let's see, make sure, can you guys still see? Oh yeah, you can still see what I got going on here. You actually probably see this a little bit better because it's facing up. So I'm going to take this, throw it in here already. Try to give these ends a pretty good wipe. They're new, but they still get a little bit of dust in them. I don't necessarily think that it would matter, but try to get all that in there. In the threads, I'm not trying to fill that 90 up with it. I'm just trying to get a good even coat on the threads so that the stuff will seal up. I've used the blue kind, the yellow kind. I haven't ever had any of this stuff fail regardless of what I used. Some of it may be better than others, but I have never known of any of it to fail. And so try to get this down in here. And then obviously on this piece here, it doesn't have a it's not directional, so you can get this down to where it's good and snug. I just use my small pipe wrench. I have a larger one. This is actually your weep hole right here. You don't want, it looks like it's empty, but for it to be frost free, we do not want that in there, and you don't want to go too tight on these threads either. I mean, you want them snug, but not double barrel tight. So now this one end of this is going to go over our PVC, and one end of this is going to go over our nipple right here. So I'm going to change the angle of the dangle here just a little bit. Put this up here. So let's see. This may or may not work. I don't know. This is a really dirty tool bin. I sharpen my saws right here. So I'm just gonna have to lay my wrench on it to get you guys to stand up. So anyways, this comes in here. You can take one end off. There's two pieces in here. There's a little lock ring and there's this rubber grommet. And so I try to, whenever I'm doing this, put these on. I don't want to let that all the way down because it's going to get that blue junk all over it, which I do not want. And then this is a beveled piece right here on the end. It's pretty aggravating to get on there. So you just got to kind of work it to get it. We're not actually going to use the threads on this end, which is helpful. And sometimes you can take this because it's beveled in here on this end too, and use it to kind of try to work it down. It'll help you get past those threads just a little bit. But the idea is we want to split the difference on this, where about half of it's in there with the galvanized tip, and about half of it is in there with the so I got, this is my halfway mark right here. By the time that settles up in there, it'll be about right. But you want about half of it. And whenever we run our PVC pipe into the end of it, we're not going to want it to touch. I don't think it's the end of the world if it touches, but I typically try not to have them touch, just because even though this thing's going to be concreted in, it will torque and it will break. And that's a thing that we don't want to have to deal with later down the road. So on these, I like to get them tight. Your pressure is what does this, and you don't need to use a wrench this big necessarily, but what I've come to find out is this is the only one that I have personally that will fit over top of this the way that I need it to get it kindly torqued up here. So I'll run this thing around, and you can really put the torque on it with these big wrenches, so just be mindful. But these are not as apt to break. They've actually make this, I'm sorry, this is called a dresser coupling, not a slip coupling, but they actually make a plastic dresser coupling as well, and they are not as good. They tend to be a bit more fragile, They just break easier and they're more apt to crack. So this one cost about 3 times as much, but it's well worth it for the insurance purpose of, you know, hey, now I don't have to worry about this cracking, because this is not going to crack like a plastic one is. And I'll be dipped. You guys are upside down. We'll have to take that out in the editing.